We hear a lot about extinction, about animals disappearing forever, species vanishing quietly, sometimes without us even noticing. But today, we're telling a different, good story. A story that shows conservation can work. Not instantly, not easily, but when people commit for decades, nature can respond. Giant panda, a conservation win. The giant panda is one of the most recognizable animals on Earth, but for much of the 20th century, it was also one of the most threatened. Pandas live only in the mountainous forests of central China, where they rely almost entirely on bamboo for food. Although they are classified as bears, more than 99% of their diet comes from bamboo. Because bamboo is low in nutrients, pandas must eat constantly, sometimes up to 14 hours a day just to survive. During the 20th century, rapid deforestation, road construction, and farming destroyed large areas of bamboo forest. This habitat loss fragmented panda populations, isolating them from one another and making breeding increasingly difficult. Pandas also reproduce very slowly, with females fertile for only a few days each year. By the 1980s, panda numbers had dropped to dangerously low levels, and the species was officially listed as endangered. What followed was one of the most ambitious conservation efforts in history. China established a network of protected reserves, restricted logging, restored bamboo forests, and created wildlife corridors to reconnect isolated panda populations. Local communities were included in conservation planning, helping reduce pressure on forests while supporting sustainable livelihoods. Today, the giant panda is no longer listed as endangered. The wild population has increased by 17%, reaching about 1,864 individuals. 67 panda reserves now protect nearly two-thirds of all wild pandas. Pandas are still classified as vulnerable, and climate change continues to threaten bamboo forests. But their recovery proves something powerful. Even species on the brink can recover when protection is consistent and long-term.
Manumea, the little dodo, still lives. Hidden deep within the rainforests of Samoa lives one of the world's rarest birds, the Manumea, also known as the tooth-billed pigeon. The Manumea is one of the closest living relatives of the dodo, a bird that went extinct in the 1600s after humans arrived on its island habitat. Like the dodo, the Manumea evolved in isolation, without large predators, which left it especially vulnerable to human activity. The bird depends on dense, mature rainforest and feeds mainly on fallen fruit and seeds. Its powerful, hooked beak is unique among pigeons and allows it to crack hard food sources on the forest floor. During the 20th century, logging, land clearing, hunting, and the introduction of invasive species, especially rats and feral cats, caused the Manumea population to collapse. These predators prey on eggs, chicks, and even adult birds. By the early 2000s, the species was listed as critically endangered. For years, sightings became increasingly rare. The last confirmed sighting occurred in 2020, and for 5 years, no one knew if the Manumea still survived. Then, during a recent field survey, conservationists reported multiple sightings of the bird in the wild. Although no clear photographs were captured, the observations confirmed something vital. The Manumea is still here. Scientists now estimate that fewer than 150 adult birds may remain. Conservationists are working with indigenous communities and using artificial intelligence to identify the bird's rare vocalizations, helping locate remaining populations and protect critical habitat before it disappears. Flat-headed cat, rediscovered after 30 years. The flat-headed cat is one of the smallest and most mysterious wild cats in the world. Native to Southeast Asia, it is rarely seen and poorly studied, even by scientists. Unlike most cats, the flat-headed cat is strongly tied to water. It lives near rivers, wetlands, peat swamps, and flooded forests. Its flattened skull, long body, short legs, and partially webbed feet make it an excellent hunter of fish, frogs, and aquatic prey. Beginning in the mid-20th century, these wetland habitats were drained and converted for agriculture, fishing, and development. As wetlands disappeared, so did the flat-headed cat. Because the species is nocturnal and extremely shy, it often vanished without notice. In Thailand, no confirmed sightings occurred after 1995. Over time, the species was classified as possibly extinct in the country. That changed recently when camera traps placed in southern Thailand's peat swamp forests recorded multiple flat-headed cats over 2 years. One image in particular stood out, a female walking alongside her cub. This single photograph confirmed not just survival, but successful breeding. It also proved that intact wetland habitat still exists, and that protecting it could determine the species' future. Scientists hope the discovery will lead to updated conservation assessments and stronger protection for Southeast Asia's rapidly disappearing wetlands. Green sea turtle, back from the brink. Green sea turtles have swum Earth's oceans for more than 100 million years, surviving mass extinctions that wiped out countless other species. Yet by the late 20th century, human activity pushed them toward extinction. Green sea turtles were hunted for their meat and shells, their eggs were harvested from nesting beaches, and many were accidentally killed after becoming trapped in fishing nets. Coastal development destroyed nesting sites, while pollution degraded their feeding grounds. By the 1980s, green sea turtles were listed as endangered worldwide. Recovery was slow. Green sea turtles take decades to reach maturity, and only a tiny fraction of hatchlings survive to adulthood. Conservation required patience, international cooperation, and long-term commitment. Over time, protected nesting beaches were established, fishing practices were modified, rescue and rehabilitation programs expanded, and public awareness increased. These efforts gradually stabilized populations in many regions. Today, green sea turtles are no longer classified as endangered globally. It is one of the most significant marine conservation successes of the last century. However, the species remains far below historic numbers. Climate change, rising sea levels, and warming sands, which can affect hatchling survival, continue to pose serious threats. Their future still depends on continued protection of oceans and coastlines. These animals remind us that extinction is not inevitable when people choose to act. With time, science, and protection, nature can recover, and these stories prove it. For more science, nature, and real conservation success stories, subscribe to Wow Facts Lab